Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into the world of blockchain again today, but this time we're talking speed, or, well, the lack of it sometimes.
Right. It's no secret that transaction speeds can be a real pain point for blockchain.
Totally. It's like everyone's so excited about the potential, which is huge, obviously, but then you get stuck waiting forever for a transaction to go through.
Yeah, it's like that spinning wheel of doom.
Exactly. So today, we're going to explore something called BlockDAG. You ever heard of it?
Oh yeah, BlockDAG is super interesting. It's basically trying to solve this exact problem, like completely change the game when it comes to blockchain speed.
Okay, so less waiting around, more actually doing stuff. I like the sound of that. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's break it down for our listeners. What exactly is BlockDAG, and how is it different from the blockchain we all know?
So you know how in a traditional blockchain, everything happens on this single chain of blocks, one after another?
Right, like a line at the DMV, everyone just inching forward slowly.
Yeah, exactly. BlockDAG throws that whole linear model out the window. Instead of a chain, imagine a web, a network of blocks all connected together.
Okay, so more connections, less waiting in line. I can get behind that. But how does that actually translate to faster speeds?
Because with BlockDAG, you can process multiple blocks at the same time, parallel processing. It's like having a bunch of tellers working at the DMV instead of just one.
So instead of transactions taking forever to confirm because they have to wait their turn in line, they can just zoom through on a separate lane.
Exactly. And that's the key to unlocking faster transactions, lower fees, and a much more scalable blockchain overall.
This is already blowing my mind. So we've got these blocks, they're connected in a web-like structure, and they can be processed simultaneously. But with all this happening at once, how do you keep things organized and secure? I mean, it seems like it could get messy pretty quickly.
That's where things get really clever. With BlockDAG, it's not just about speed, it's about creating a system that's both fast and incredibly secure. One of the ways they do this is through a system of weights.
Weights? Like at the gym?
Well, not exactly. In this context, weight refers to a way of prioritizing transactions and blocks within the network.
So how does that work? How does a block earn its weight, so to speak?
Think of it like a reputation system. Blocks that come from known and trusted sources, those with a history of valid transactions, they get a higher weight. And the higher the weight, the more valuable that block becomes in the network.
So it's like a blockchain with a built-in spam filter. It can tell the good actors from the bad guys based on their reputation.
Exactly. And that weighting system is key to maintaining security and order, even with all this parallel processing going on.
This is making a lot more sense now. Okay, so we've got this super fast, secure network of blocks all doing their thing. But at the end of the day, what does that actually mean for the everyday user? How does all this technical wizardry translate to real-world benefits?
Well, think about it this way. The faster the network, the faster your transactions go through, right?
That's the whole point, right?
Exactly. But it's not just about speed, it's also about cost. See, when a network gets congested, like with those traditional blockchains, users end up having to bid against each other to get their transactions prioritized. That's where those hefty gas fees come in.
Gas fees, the bane of every blockchain user's existence.
Pretty much. But with BlockDAG, because you can process so many more transactions simultaneously, you eliminate that bottleneck. And when there's less congestion, there's less need for those crazy high gas fees.
So you're saying BlockDAG could potentially mean the end of those ridiculous gas fees?
Yeah.
Okay, now you're really talking my language. But let's get specific. We've touched on BlockDAG in theory, but are there any real-world examples of this technology in action?
Yeah.
What's actually being built with BlockDAG?
Oh, absolutely. There are some really exciting projects out there pushing the boundaries of what's possible with BlockDAG. One that comes to mind is Taraxa.
Taraxa. Okay, I've heard whispers of this one.
Yeah.
What's their claim to fame in the BlockDAG world?
Well, for starters, Taraxa is a layer 1 blockchain built entirely on BlockDAG, so they're all in on this technology. And they're not messing around when it comes to speed either. These guys are aiming for 5,000 transactions per second.
5,000. Okay, my brain just did a backflip. How is that even possible? What are they doing differently?
Well, a big part of it is how they've optimized their block inclusion times.
Block inclusion times. Okay, you're going to have to break that down for me.
Sure. So basically, block inclusion time refers to how quickly transactions get added to a block after they're initiated.
Okay, so the faster the block inclusion time, the faster things move through the network. Gotcha.
Exactly. And Taraxa is claiming they can get those block inclusion times down to under 4 seconds.
And 4 seconds. That's faster than it takes me to decide what to have for breakfast. That's seriously impressive.
It is, but it's not just about how quickly transactions get added to a block, it's also about how quickly that block is considered final.
Okay, so what's the difference? What does it mean for a block to be final?
So imagine you're checking out at the grocery store. You scan your items, bag them up, and then pay. The transaction is complete, right?
Well, yeah, I've paid. I'm ready to go.
Right, but there's still a chance, however small, that something could go wrong. Maybe the payment doesn't go through, or there's an error with the system. True finality, in blockchain terms, is like that moment when you walk out of the store with your groceries in hand. There's no going back. The transaction is irreversible.
Okay, so block inclusion is like paying for your groceries, and true finality is like walking out of the store.
Gotcha. You got it. And Taraxa has implemented some really innovative consensus mechanisms to achieve that true finality in a matter of seconds.
Consensus mechanisms. Now, that's a whole other rabbit hole we could go down.
Yeah.
But for the sake of our listeners' sanity, maybe we can save that deep dive for another episode.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so Taraxa is achieving super fast block inclusion and true finality. That's amazing. But I can't help but wonder, with all this focus on speed, are there any trade-offs?
That's a fair question. With any new technology, it's important to look at the bigger picture, and BlockDAG does come with its own set of challenges.
Like what? Spill the tea. What are the potential downsides we haven't talked about yet?
Well, one of the biggest challenges with BlockDAG is ensuring security and order in a parallel processing environment. Remember, we're no longer dealing with a nice linear blockchain.
Right, it's more like a network, with blocks coming from all directions.
Exactly. So you need robust algorithms and consensus mechanisms to make sure everything is processed correctly, that there's no double spending, and that the whole system remains secure, even with all this happening at once.
So it's like conducting an orchestra, but instead of musicians, you've got these blocks, and they all need to be in sync for the music to sound right.
That's a great analogy. It takes a lot of coordination and careful design to make it all work seamlessly.
Makes sense. But what about those bad actors we always hear about? With everything moving so fast, isn't BlockDAG more vulnerable to attacks or spam?
Well, remember that weighting system we talked about earlier? That plays a crucial role in security. By prioritizing blocks from known and trusted sources, BlockDAG makes it much harder for malicious actors to disrupt the network.
So it's like having a built-in immune system that can identify and neutralize threats before they become a problem.
Exactly. And developers are constantly working on new and innovative ways to strengthen security and make BlockDAG even more resilient to attacks.
Okay, that's reassuring. It sounds like BlockDAG is making incredible strides in terms of speed, scalability, and even cost-effectiveness. But security is always a concern with any new technology, and BlockDAG is no exception.
Absolutely. But the exciting thing is that the community is actively working on addressing these challenges. And as with any emerging technology, it's all about iteration, innovation, and finding creative solutions to complex problems.
So it's a constant work in progress, but the potential is definitely there. Now, speaking of pushing boundaries, you mentioned another project, Kaspa, that's taking BlockDAG speed to a whole other level.
Oh yeah, Kaspa is really interesting. They're less focused on the number of transactions per second and more on how quickly they can confirm each block. And get this, they're aiming for 1 block confirmation per second.
1 second. Is that even possible? How does that compare to, say, Bitcoin?
Well, Bitcoin takes about 10 minutes to confirm a block on average, so we're talking about a significant difference in speed.
Okay, that's not even a competition. It's like comparing a snail to a cheetah. What's Kaspa's secret sauce? How are they achieving these insane speeds?
Well, for one thing, they're using a programming language called Rust, which is known for its speed and efficiency.
Rust. I'm not a developer, but that sounds familiar. Isn't it supposed to be super secure too?
Exactly. Rust is designed with a strong emphasis on memory safety, which is crucial in the world of blockchain where security is paramount. So they're getting both speed and security benefits from their choice of programming language.
Smart move. But it's not just the programming language, right? What else is contributing to Kaspa's impressive speed?
They've also made some really clever design choices with their consensus mechanism, specifically optimizing it for faster block processing. It's like they've fine-tuned every aspect of their system for maximum speed and efficiency.
So they're like the Formula One race car of the BlockDAG world.
Exactly. And they're not stopping there. Kaspa is also working on introducing smart contracts to their platform, which could open up a whole new world of possibilities.
Okay, now that's what I call thinking big. Smart contracts on a platform that fast. The possibilities are endless. But here's the million-dollar question. If BlockDAG is so amazing, If it has the potential to solve so many of the problems that have plagued blockchain from the beginning, why aren't more people talking about it? Why isn't everyone jumping on the BlockDAG bandwagon?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it speaks to the nature of technological adoption. Just because something is groundbreaking doesn't mean it automatically takes the world by storm overnight. It takes time, it takes education, and most importantly, it takes a community.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about building a movement around it.
Exactly. And that's what's so exciting about this space. It feels like those early days of the internet, when everything was new and there was this sense of possibility in the air.
I love that comparison. It's like that feeling of being on the cusp of something huge, something that could change everything.
Yeah.
So BlockDAG has this air of the next big thing, but it needs more people to jump in and build that foundation, right?
It's like we've got the blueprints for a skyscraper, but we need construction workers, architects, and even tenants to make it a reality.
And that's where that sense of community comes in, finding those passionate people who see the potential and want to be a part of it.
Exactly. Because the beauty of open source technology, like BlockDAG, is that anyone can contribute. You don't need permission from some big company or institution. It's all about collaboration and shared innovation.
So it's like a giant open invitation to all the developers, the dreamers, the what-if people out there.
Precisely. And that's what makes this such an exciting time to be involved in blockchain. Because with BlockDAG, we're not just talking about incremental improvements. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how we think about and build blockchain technology.
It's like we're witnessing the birth of a new era. And who knows what incredible innovations will emerge from this. Maybe one of our listeners will be the one to create that killer app that takes BlockDAG mainstream.
Wouldn't that be something? And that's the beauty of it. The future is unwritten, and it's up to us to shape it.
On that note, a huge thank you to our expert for taking us on this incredible deep dive into the world of BlockDAG.
My pleasure. Always happy to geek out about blockchain.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this wild ride. We hope you learned a ton, and maybe, just maybe, we've sparked a little fire in you to go out there and explore the limitless possibilities of blockchain technology.
And who knows, maybe we'll see you on the BlockDAG superhighway sometime soon.
Until next time, keep on exploring, keep on innovating, and most importantly, keep on diving deep.